This morning, I thought I would do one of my favorite things, an early morning beach swim. I've always loved the beach, but never gave any deep thought around the connection to country and vital role it has. Arriving at the beach in the morning felt like stepping into a sacred, quiet moment of the day before the world had fully woken up. The air was crisp, and the sound of the waves rolling was steady and soothing. Immersing myself in the salt water, I felt a strong sense of peace and clarity. The ocean held me, and for a moment, I felt completely present, connected to something greater than myself. Being in the water made me feel small in the best way possible. It reminded me that country isn't just land, it's the sea, the sky, the wind, and the tides. I noticed how the ocean moved with its own rhythm, untouched and unaffected by humans. In that stillness, I observed how much I crave moments like these when I feel free and grounded at the same time. I started to feel more in tune with myself, just breathing, floating, and listening. This experience taught me that caring for country means taking time to connect and be present with it. In return, country offers healing, balance, and perspective. The ocean reminded me that looking after the environment and land also helps me look after my mental and emotional well-being. It's not a one-way relationship, it's a cycle of respect, care, and connection. Over the week break from uni, I went back to our family farm and spent 4 days helping my nan and uncle work. My favourite childhood memories consist of helping nan and pop on the farm, whether that be in the tractor working on the paddocks or feeding and marking the animals. With this assessment task in mind, I asked Nan how she feels farming connects her to country and if she feels as though she's giving back to country. She had a different take on the question to what I thought she would. Since my pop passed away half a decade ago, she's been told to sold the farm a lot. She explained to me that she just can't part ways with the land. She put it to me in the sense that when someone spends their whole life caring for the land, working on it, respecting it, and living alongside it through the good and the bad, they become deeply connected and embedded in the country. In turn, the land holds a part of them. She sees him in everything she looks at. She hears his voice through the wind and feels as though he is still with her. Gaining this perspective has really altered my way of thinking and makes me appreciate the land I have the privilege to work with. As I worked, I observed how much the land truly provides for us food, shelter, life, and how much it asks for care in return. Every task had a purpose turning soil, feeding animals, each action was a way of maintaining balance. I noticed how closely the health of the land and the well-being of the animals were connected, and how both depended on people caring for them with respect and consistency. Creating a plant corner in my living room became a quiet, meaningful way to give back to country, an act of care, intention, and respect within my own space. In the mornings, as the sunlight streamed through the windows, it felt like a small sanctuary, not just for the plants, but for myself as well. As I continued to water the plants and watch them grow, the space became more than just a decoration. Though in a home, the plants follow the same natural rhythms as country the rising sun, the flow of water, the need for care and patience. Through this, I began to observe how even small acts like nurturing life indoors can honor and mirror our relationship with country. I did a little bit of research into different ways I could give back to country. Bringsling Mark et al. Stated that indoor plants within the home hold many psychological benefits, more so reviewing the benefits gained through passive interactions with indoor plants. I began to notice the more I cared for the plants, the more grounded I felt. Their presence made me slow down, breathe deeper, and reflect. I realized that giving back to country doesn't have to be grand or traditional. It can be as simple as creating a space where nature is respected, noticed, and given the ability to thrive. It reminded me that country is not just out there in the big world, it's with us, even in the quiet corners of our homes. Walking through the botanical gardens was more than just a stroll through nature. It was a quiet, personal moment of connection with country. From the moment I stepped onto the path, I felt a shift in my focus. The usual noise of everyday life faded, replaced by birds chirping, the rustle of leaves, and the gentle rhythm of my footsteps on the earth. I felt calm, grounded, and more present than I had in a long time. I really took the time to walk around and observe my surroundings. The diversity of plants, both native and introduced, told a story of place and survival. I took the time to take in the individual shape of each different leaf, tree bark, and the way the sunlight filtered through the branches. Everything was different. There wasn't one leaf that was the same as the next, and it was a true reminder that country is alive, listening, and layered with meaning. During my walk, I also took the time to reflect on myself, noticing how rarely I slow down and truly listen to the world around me. Being in country encouraged me to move more mindfully and reflect on how I showed respect, not just to the land, but to myself. I began to understand that caring for country and caring for self are deeply interconnected. When I slowed down and gave my attention to the land, I also gave myself the space to breathe, heal, and reconnect. The relationship between well-being and nature has gained increasing attention in both Western and Indigenous knowledge systems. While Western literature often emphasizes empirical and therapeutic outcomes associated with time spent in nature, Indigenous perspectives highlight the relational and spiritual dimensions of well-being, grounded in connection to land, culture, and community. Western literature often frames nature as a therapeutic tool. Exposure to green spaces is shown to reduce stress, anxiety, and improve mood. However, the relationship is often one-sided. Nature is viewed as something external that benefits us. In this context, well-being is commonly understood as individuals' physical and mental health, often assessed using measures or indicators of life satisfaction. Indigenous perspectives, in contrast, are holistic and relational. Well-being isn't just about feeling good, it's about living well in connection with the land, community, ancestors, and spirit. The reference on screen describes this as living a good life, a dynamic process of balance with all living systems. Land is not just setting for health, but a relative and active partner in well-being. Western systems tend to isolate health into categories: mental, physical, emotional, whereas Indigenous models integrate them. While both acknowledge the value of environment and community, Western knowledge often centers the individual and symptoms, while Indigenous perspectives emphasize collective balance, responsibility, and interdependence. These, despite these differences, the two systems can complement each other. The reference on screen shows how integrating Indigenous concepts like caring for country can improve mental health outcomes for Indigenous peoples and potentially for broader populations as well. In summary, both Western and Indigenous knowledge systems offer important insights into well-being and nature. Western science offers practical tools, while Indigenous perspectives provide a deeper sense of meaning, connection, and responsibility. It helped me recognize that mental distress isn't always internal. It can stem from disconnection from place, community, or purpose. When I feel out of balance, these frameworks prompt me to reflect not just on my mood, but on my relationships and responsibilities. True well-being, I've learned, is not just about self-care. It's about living in respectful relationships with others, the land, and our shared future. Well-being in this context encompasses more than physical and psychological health. It includes emotional, social, spiritual, and ecological dimensions. Time spent in nature has been consistently linked to improved mental health, enhanced emotional regulation, and increased overall life satisfaction. For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, country is central to well-being. It is not simply a physical environment, but a living entity that holds spiritual, cultural, and relational significance. The act of connecting with and caring for country is recognised as a reciprocal relationship that fosters identity, belonging, and purpose. Engaging with Indigenous perspectives highlights the importance of place, community, and cultural continuity in sustaining mental well-being. Several outcomes and content areas within the PDHPE 7 to 10 syllabus support the exploration of well-being through this holistic and relational lens. So outcome S4.he1/S5.he1, which is investigates effective health promotion strategies and reflects on the impact of social and cultural influences on personal and community health. It is connecting with and caring for country and can be explored as a health promotion strategy, particularly in the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities, where country is seen as central to identity and well-being. Your experience of this connection may highlight how cultural practices and connection to the land supports resilience and mental health. And then in a classroom setting, you could be inviting local Aboriginal elders or community members to share knowledge and practices. Students can then explore how cultural identity and connection to country can promote mental well-being through hearing real-life experiences. Outcome S4.he2/S5.he2, which is explains and applies skills and strategies to manage change, challenges, and seek help for themselves and others. is aligned to connecting to country because everyone's journeys with connecting to country are likely fostered by emotional regulation, mindfulness, and perspective, which is an essential strategy for managing stress and mental health. So in a classroom, nature-based activities such as bushwalks or school-based environmental projects can promote emotional self-regulation and reflection, allowing students to develop personal strategies to manage stress. The content descriptor, exploring connections between personal identity, culture, and well-being, ties into this through caring for country, encourages students to reflect on their own identity and cultural context in relation to nature. So your personal learning about relational health and perspectives, seeing health as more than just the individual, connects directly here. So in the classroom, the use of storytelling and reflective journaling can help students consider how their environments and cultural backgrounds shape their well-being and health decisions. And lastly, outcome S4.HR3/S5.HR3, which is evaluates health information, products and services to promote health and well-being. The Indigenous knowledge system offers alternative understandings of well-being that differ from the dominant models that we see in the syllabus nowadays. Students can critically evaluate how these relational health models may offer strength-based approaches, particularly for mental well-being. In the classroom, we can facilitate inquiry-based learning projects where students can compare Western and Indigenous health models, focusing on how these relate to mental health and connection to nature. Understanding well-being through the lens of connection to country and community provides a powerful framework for both personal development and curriculum design. The PDHPE 7-10 syllabus in 2027 presents opportunities to support this perspective. However, its impact will depend on international, culturally informed pedagogy. By embedding these values into teaching, educators can support the development of resilient, connective, and reflective learners.